Today, I'm going to show you 8 questions that will help your teen be successful after high school. And I promise none of them are what is your GPA or where are you applying to school? I've spent over 18 years counseling people through major life transitions, both as a high school counselor and working with adults navigating their own careers. So, the questions I'm about to walk you through are ones I've tested with teenagers and adults alike. On top of that, I'm a father of 4. 3 of my kids have already walked across the graduation stage, but I have a 13-year-old who's still climbing the mountain. So I'm not just speaking from a textbook. I'm living this at work and at home right now. And here's what I've noticed after so many years of sitting across the table from literally thousands of families. Most of us spend all of our energy on the transcript, the test scores, and the college list, and almost none of it on the person underneath all of that paperwork. And then we wonder why a bright, capable kid graduates high school and still feels completely lost about who they are and what they're supposed to do next. The good news is this is completely fixable, not with a 5-year plan, but with 8 honest conversations. So let's go ahead and get into them right now. Question number 1. What are your values and why do they matter? Now, values are not the same thing as goals. They're not the same thing as money either. If your teen says they value success, ask them what's underneath that. Is it security? Is it freedom? Is it being respected? Values are the quiet rules your teen uses to make every decision, whether they even realize it or not. A simple way to find them: ask your teen to think of a moment when they felt completely upset, frustrated, or even angry. And almost every time that anger is a value that's being stepped on. Flip it around and you found something they truly care about. Values are foundational to nearly every decision we make, yet they're rarely identified or even talked about. Every year in mid November, I run a values activity with the senior class at my high school. November is the perfect time because seniors are about to walk straight into the holiday season where every relative at the table is going to ask them, what are their plans after graduation? Without doing this work ahead of time, a student has 2 options: stare at the floor and mumble something when Uncle Tommy and Aunt Betty corner them in the living room because they don't really have a good answer. Or even worse, they recite a 15-second elevator pitch about going into pre law, not because they mean it, but because they know it'll get an approving head nod from an adult. And more importantly, it'll end the conversation. Once a student has even a basic understanding of their values and the words to express them, they can speak about their future with real confidence. Not because the plan is finished, but because they finally understand the why behind it, even when the what is still being figured out. Question number 2: what are your strengths? Not what are they good at because a teacher or some other adult told them so, but what comes naturally. I like to ask my own kids this question. What did you learn quickly, almost without trying? What activity makes you lose track of time? When have you surprised yourself and thought, how did I just do that? Those moments are clues. Strengths usually show up as yearning towards something, rapid learning, flow is what we call it as adults, satisfaction that makes you want to do it again. Help your teen collect a handful of those moments, and a pattern starts to appear. And just as important as identifying those strengths is helping teens actually lean into them. Too often, schools beat it out of them. We train students to focus on their deficiencies, constantly working to shore up whatever they're weakest at. I believe the opposite approach gets far better results. Double down on what a person already does well and build their future around that rather than spending a lifetime patching holes. Question number 3: how do you make decisions? This one changed completely how I counsel families. Most teens, and honestly, most adults, make major life decisions by trying to avoid something bad rather than moving towards something good. I'm going to college because I don't want to be a bum, or I'm picking this major because there's no way I can make a living doing what I actually love. Here's a simple decision making process worth teaching your teen. Identify the decision, gather information, listen to your real alternatives, weigh them honestly, choose, and most importantly, take action. Then review what happened and learn from it. Decision making is a skill, and skills get better with practice, not with worry. I'm a big believer that the cure for worry and anxiety is action. Getting comfortable making decisions, learning from the consequences, and adjusting as you go is the most valuable skill a person can build. Question number 4. What is your mission? Now, I know that sounds like a big word for a teenager, so simplify it. Ask them, what really matters to you? What problems in the world bother you enough that you'd want to help fix them? That is the beginning of purpose. It doesn't need to be polished. My oldest daughter didn't have a clear answer to this until she had real life experience of almost 2 years in the corporate world. And that's completely normal. The goal is not a perfect mission statement. The goal is to start asking the question early enough that they're ready when the answer actually shows up. Question 5. How do you set and achieve goals? A goals without a values connection rarely sticks. Teach your team to tie their goals back to what they said mattered in question 1. Then break the goal down small enough that the next step is obvious. Success is not one giant leap, it's a string of small, deliberate actions reviewed and adjusted along the way. This matters even more in a world where teens see a constant stream of young people on TikTok and Instagram becoming hugely successful seemingly overnight. As adults, it's easier for us to see through this facade. But teens are caught between two extremes, a steady stream of flashy overnight success stories on one end, and then the narratives that success is completely out of reach for their generation on the other. It can be life changing once they realize that the ability to take deliberate, patient action will inevitably produce results as long as that action stays consistent. Question number 6. Who are your mentors? Nobody transitions well alone. I tell every family I work with to help their teen build what I call a small, trusted circle. Not 100 followers or 50 acquaintances, but 5 to 10 real people. A mentor who gives honest counsel, a thought leader who challenges how they think, someone slightly further down the road who will simply answer the phone when your teen calls with a hard question. When my second daughter was choosing her path after high school, the conversations that mattered most were not with me. They were with a mentor outside of our family who had already walked a similar road. Help your teen find that person now before they actually need them in a crisis. I believe the old saying holds just as true for teens as it does for adults. We become the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. Encourage your teen to reach out to adults working in a field that interests them or living a life that they want to emulate. Most of us adults are flattered by that kind of request and glad to share what we've learned. Yet it's so rare for a teenager to actually make the first move and let that relationship happen. Question number 7. What career do you want to pursue right now? Please notice the phrase right now. This is not a permanent contract, and it's certainly not what do you want to do with the rest of your life. It's a working hypothesis that your teen gets to test and revise. Ask them to describe what purposeful work looks like to them today. It will almost certainly change, and that's not failure, that's growth. The goal is to get them moving with intention, not sitting frozen waiting for certainty that never arrives. The skies are not going to part, and a voice from heaven is not going to rain down instruction for their life, especially while they're sitting on the couch binging Netflix or playing video games. The surest way to learn about a career is to actually do it, not just watch someone else describe it on a YouTube video. Question number 8. What kind of life do you want to experience? Now, this is my favorite question, but it's really the one that families skip most often. Now, don't get it mixed up. This is not what job do you want? What does an ordinary Tuesday look like in the life that you're hoping to build? Where do you live? Who's around you? How do you want to feel at the end of most days? Career is just one piece of a much bigger picture, and teens who can picture the whole life tend to make far wiser choices about the pieces underneath it. Let them embellish here. Let them get as creative as they want with the answer. Fight the urge to tell them to reel in their expectations, even if the answer is completely over the top. Exploring the kind of life they want to experience is often exactly what sparks action in the first place. Do not steal their joy and excitement over it. They still have plenty of years ahead to become a skeptical adult. Let them dream when they're answering this question. So there are the 8 questions: values, strengths, decision making, mission, goals, mentors, career for right now, and the life they actually want to experience. You don't need to cover all 8 in one sitting. Pick one this week. Ask it over dinner, in the car, or wherever your teen actually will talk to you. Almost 20 years of doing this work has taught me one thing above everything else. The teens who thrive after high school are not the ones with the perfect plan. They're the ones who know themselves well enough to build one and then rebuild it whenever life asks them to. Now, to make this easier, I'll put all 8 questions into a free worksheet and you and your team can work through it together. I'll drop the link right below the video. Grab it and start the conversation tonight. I'd love to know in the comments which questions sparked the most conversation, and I can't wait to see you next time. Take care.